I'm Allison from Learning at the Primary Pond. I'm a literacy specialist, and in this video, I'm going to explain how you can keep your students from falling behind over the summer, avoiding the summer slide, and instead helping them maintain their learning or even advance ahead. Before we dive in, if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, go ahead and do that now, and then also hit the bell so that you don't miss out on any of the brand new videos that I post about teaching literacy in K2. All right, so let's talk summer break. I love summer break. It's great. It gives us as teachers a chance to recharge, and it can give our students a chance to take a break and recharge too. But there's some other things that we have to think about. You know, just because some kids have opportunities to go on vacations and play with their friends, go to the pool, maybe go to museums and read, it doesn't, of course, mean that all of our students are having the same experience. Summer break might be really tough for them. It might be a time when, they're just like on a device all the time and they don't have a lot of interaction or even get to play outdoors with other kids. Maybe they're not continuing to learn. Maybe they really miss the structure that school provides and the meals that school provides. So summer break can be a vastly different experience for all of our students, and we never 100% know what kind of things are going to be happening at home, right? And all of that is outside of our control. And something about summer break to know too is that the majority of students lose about 2 months worth of learning over the summer break. And this is even worse for our students who come from socioeconomic backgrounds, certain socioeconomic backgrounds, and or students who come from just, families where they're not necessarily getting the learning enrichment over the summer. So the summer slide is real. It's not just your imagination. When the kids come back in the fall and they don't seem to know as much, that is a real thing. So then that begs the question, what do we as teachers do about it, given that there's only so much that we control? So I'm actually curious, and I would love for you to let me know in a comment, what, if anything, do you send home with your students over the summer? So let me know in a comment. Now, we as teachers work really hard over the school year to get our kids to master concepts and learn and move ahead. And we certainly don't want our, best efforts to be lost over the summer. So there are some steps that we can take. And the way that I think about this is, I imagine myself to be, and you would never want me as your waiter, but I imagine myself to be a waitress, and I'm walking around and I'm holding different things for you to eat, right? And I'm offering them to different people. And if you want something to eat, you can take it, like hors d'oeuvres, something fancy and nice. If you want an hors d'oeuvre, you can take it. And if you don't want an hors d'oeuvre, then you don't take it. This might sound like a strange metaphor, but the reason I'm saying this is because I think it's a good mindset to have coming into giving your kids summer learning activities. You're offering these activities to families sort of as your hors d'oeuvre, do you want this? And we can hope that families will take advantage of it, but not all families can for a number of reasons. And so my job as the waiter is not to force anything on anybody, but just to offer it, and hopefully they will take advantage of it. So I know that's a silly metaphor, but that's how I like to think about it because it keeps me from becoming too stressed about who's doing what or who's not doing what over the summer. I do think it's important to share with families that, typically kids may lose up to 2 months of learning, but here are some things that you can do to keep them learning and keep their brains fresh over the summer. And I like to provide ideas. I do provide activities, which I'll talk about in a little bit, like actual printable activities. But as far as ideas go, I'll remind them about local libraries and museums, and sometimes there'll be a free Friday during the summer. So I try to, point those things out to them. You can make a list. I might provide names of educational apps or technology. Obviously, we don't want kids on screens all the time, but if they're going to spend some time on screens, it might as well be for something that's going to benefit them, right? I tell them to read with their kids, take them to the library. Maybe their library has a book reading incentive program. A lot of libraries do, and it's totally free and they'll get prizes. So kind of look into that and see if you can provide any information. Suggest car games. For the littles, this could be phonemic awareness activities, like coming up with seeing things, watching things out the window and coming up with things that rhyme, or looking for alphabet letters, looking for words that they know on signs. Making a 10, if they see, the number 7, how many more to make 10? Well, there's 3. So it could be literacy, math, really anything, right? And another thing I like to suggest is that they try to incorporate writing in some way. This could be anything from them helping with the store list, right, to making their own recipe and writing that up. Kids can keep a daily journal of what they're doing over the summer. And by journal, I just mean like you could literally send home some stapled packets. It doesn't have to be a whole huge thing, but just to keep them writing, to keep that, in practice for them. And I also think it's helpful to encourage students, keep reading. And of course, when you're encouraging them, you want to give them materials. Like, we don't want to tell them, oh, you need to be doing all of this, but then not give them the resources to do so, because we know that not all families can supply their kids with learning materials. So I have some summer packets, and I have them for kindergarten, first grade, and second grade. And there's just a ton of different materials in them, both literacy and math. There are some family games that families can play together. There are some little passages or texts to read. And there's a ton of different skills included in the packet, so you probably won't want to send all of it home. You actually could use some of it toward the end of the year or at the beginning of next year for a refresher, or you could just send it home as is. It's totally up to you. But there's a lot of stuff in there for you to choose from. And these are things that are going to reinforce the skills that you've been teaching over the school year. And, it's always like an optional summer homework packet is the way I do it. But I do tell the kids, hey, like, if you show me that you worked on this or whatever, then bring it back at the beginning of the next school year and I'll let you choose 2 things from the prize box or whatever else. And if I have a concern that a child is not going to be able to do it, I might, make a separate agreement with them, or maybe just send home a little bit less. So you can differentiate it and kind of make it what your kids need. But I do like to send home those physical materials. And I love the summer packets because I created them and I can use them year after year after year. There's no prep for you. So I will include a link to those in the caption in this video so you can grab them too. So again, I have them for kids who have finished kindergarten, first and second grade. It's just a really easy thing to send home. All right, I hope this was helpful. I hope it gave you some good ideas about how to prevent the summer slide. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, hit the like button, make sure you've subscribed, and I will see you in my next video.